Tuesday morning, it's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world. We'll look at Market Watch, stocks we're paying attention to, even national and local stories that you need to know as well. If you're planning your summer vacation, we've already told you about a certain place in, I don't know, let's say Waco, Texas, you might want to go to. Well, we're going to give you another reason here to maybe put Waco, Texas on your list of places to stop at later on in the show. But first, let's get into it with that Market Watch. We have a lot to talk about today here, folks. As I speak over the music, you can see right now Dow Jones down 325 points as we're looking at the market here early in our trading day. Then you've got the S&P 500 down 60 points right now. Should be 40 points right now to 73.70 for the S&P 500 as well. You know, we should all guess what is actually happening today. The Nasdaq's down 216 points. Tech stocks are dropping today. And it's at 228 down, 29,195. You've got the Russell 2K, 44 points down for that as well. Russell 2K is at 28.31 right now as well. Even Bitcoin's getting in on the fun, but Bitcoin is above the 80,000 level still. 80,546 is where it's at right now as well. What's happening? High inflation reading. We're going to tell you about that here in just a moment. And then, of course, drop in tech stocks is big for the NASDAQ side of things and the S&P 500. Oil prices, well, not going down, I can tell you that. Not increasing in huge amounts, but are trending towards up as well here today as well. Treasury yields are pushing higher after the consumer the consumer report that came out today. Well, the Treasury yields pushed to the highest in nearly 3 years, which does affect a lot of things out there, but mainly your mortgage as well that you're going to be affected by with those Treasury yields. So today is not a good day for the market, and it's going to be one of those days where you just don't look at what your 401k and things are here today. Stocks we are paying attention to right now. First one, Under Armour, sportswear company. Basically everything is down today, folks. So choosing some that are up was very difficult here. So Under Armour's down 19.90% right now. They posted a loss of 3 cents, revenue of $1.17 billion. Analysts were anticipating a loss of 2 cents, so 1 cent worse for them with a loss. They were anticipating revenue, though, of $1.68 billion. They came in at $1.17 billion. Huge miss for the sportswear company, Under Armour. And now their stock is paying the price, 19.90% down here today for that company as well. Then we told you about the hostile takeover, I guess, unsolicited takeover that GameStop offered to eBay. Well, we got some resolution to that, at least as of right now. So let's look at GameStop stock right now as well, down 2.98% today. Well, the eBay turned down that $56 billion takeover bid this morning from GameStop. They said the reason why they turned it down over doubts of the financing of the deal is why eBay said they turned it down. Though they didn't say anything about the price. They didn't say anything about the offer was insulting. No, they said we don't think GameStop can afford to buy us out there. The GameStop CEO was interesting on, I believe it was CNBC or maybe it was Fox Business, one of those business shows about a week ago when this came out, and we told you about it here at McCollum on Business. And he said, it's stock and financing, but he wouldn't give any details, which put some question marks around it. Well, eBay agrees. GameStop right now is down 2.98%. And with eBay having doubts over the financing and rejecting that bid, let's look at eBay stock as well here early on this Tuesday. They're down about 2% here today. eBay also as the day goes on. So now we'll have to see, does the financing get shored up at all, or does this kind of just get swept under the rug moving forward? Later on when we come back, we're going to look at some stocks here as well, namely Wendy's. They have a big report in the Financial Times out there. As we'll look at their stock, Zoom Info Technologies, them. This here specifically is the market intelligence platform. is what this site is, not the company that you use for your online viewing stuff. And then Hims and Hers Health also in the news today as well. So we'll look at those stocks coming up later on the program. But first, obviously, the big news of the day is this hot inflation report that came out this morning. And this basically summarizes it. And that's it simply is. And you know this if you are a consumer out there, which we all are. Well, the prices that we pay for those range of goods and services, it has increased at a faster than expected pace in April. Not a shocker if you're out there buying things from gas to housing to clothing, etc., which obviously is raising huge concerns about the inflationary impact on the U.S. economy moving forward. We're, of course, talking about the Consumer Price Index. Came out about 15, 20 minutes ago. It rose at a seasonally adjusted 0.6% for the month. That 1 year pace now is at 3.8%. It was at the low 3%, high 2% just a year ago. We get all this from the Bureau of Labor Statistics and their reporting. So the monthly rate was as forecast, meaning it came in right on line. The annual rate, though, was zero point 0.1 percentage point above the consensus forecast out there. If you want to exclude the food and energy, which makes that the core CPI, well, it increased 0.4% and then 2.8% for the year as well. Well, that's keeping inflation well above that Federal Reserve's goal, which is always at 2%. Fed officials consider core as a better indicator of longer term inflation needs. And that's just because food and those you know, holy cow, energy. I forgot what the other thing was there. Food and energy are very volatile. So the core one minus those are kind of what the Fed relies on a little bit more as well when they look at these numbers. The annual headline inflation was the highest since May of 2023. It was up half a percentage point from March core inflation. Well, it rose 0.2% annually in March. Energy prices, well, no shocker here, jumped a large amount, 3.8%. That was a major contributor to the inflation surge. Shouldn't shock you at all, but the problem is food prices also climbed. It climbed 0.5% on the month as well. For energy, that put the 12-month gain at 17.9% for energy, folks. Yeah, we're creeping up on a 20% increase. Food, that is up with a 12-month gain of 3.2%. The gasoline index did increase 28.4% annually. You filled up your car lately, you know exactly what they're talking about here. Though energy, and in particular gasoline prices, right, with the oil, with the Iran war out there, it's been much of the headline story. Everybody's been talking about it. But there's other areas we need to be concerned about in terms of the inflation numbers. Shelter costs, they rose 0.6%. They actually had eased in the prior months leading up to April. That is indicating inflation is a problem beyond what's happening over in the Iran war. Because if it was just oil or gasoline, it would be only tied to that level. It's other things as well. Apparel, that category, well, it's very tariff sensitive, as we know. It increased 0.6%. Airline fares, partly because of fuel, well, it accelerated 2.8% as well. So the 12-month gain on airlines, well, 20.7%, at least in that travel category. Tariffs, they seem to hit other areas as well, though. Household furnishings, operations, well, they went up 0.7%. Real average hourly wages didn't help you out either. They slipped 0.5% for the month. They fell 0.3% annually as well. So now you know why the market's down today. Just not a good report from the CPI here this morning. At any point, is there any good coming from the CPI report here in April? I don't know if it was expected to be this bad, but we knew it was going to come in bad with everything happening and the spike there of inflation because of that Iran war, and now it's hitting other areas as well. Hey, speaking of the Iran war, President Trump came out yesterday and said the Iran ceasefire is on life support. He has officially rejected the Iran's latest proposal. Some people, depends who you talk to. Well, some officials said it included some nuclear concessions, but not a bunch of them. But just rejected outright here by the president and his administration. Then later on in the day, well, because of those gas prices, Trump proposed suspending the federal gas tax with help to help those higher fuel prices and have them drop. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. But first, that small there's a very stalled diplomacy going on there in the West. Obviously, there's been a recent exchange of fire between the two sides. And we're just kind of in a hold here to see if that Middle East area is going to go back into open warfare or we're going to continue the way we've been continuing it a lot. But the problem is it is prolonging the energy crisis out there in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran still has a chokehold on that strait, and that is hurting the global supply of oil, and that's what's causing the prices to go through the roof as well. So, asked at the White House if the ceasefire was still in effect, Trump did say that it was on quote life support. He also supported, like I said, in that same meeting, the suspension of the federal gas taxes. 18 cents per gallon of your fuel price goes to the federal tax. 24 cents goes to the diesel side of things in terms of a tax. So for every gallon, you pay 18 cents to the federal government. Congress would have to approve the suspension of that tax. That is, of course, controlled by Republicans right now. But the tax brings in more than $23 billion each year. And so obviously to suspend it's going to cost the federal government a lot of money as well. And in theory, drive the price down 18 cents for regular gas, 23 cents for diesel as well. Yeah. So will that continue? Will that happen? We'll have to keep our eyes on that. But Congress would have to approve that suspension coming up as well. But the bigger issue here, it's Jennifer Moose driving those global oil prices up and affecting us here in the United States as well. Hey, we didn't really talk about it here at McCollum on Business, but there's a company out there, and they operate a learning system that maybe you use or your family uses if they're in college or even in high schools use it as well. It's a learning system called Canvas, is what we're going to talk about now. They got hacked last week, and now they've come out this morning and said they struck a deal with the hackers to delete the data that they took in that cyber attack. Now, it's causing a lot of issues. One, personal information was taken, but it's also causing, a lot of chaos for students. They can't access the Canvas site right in the middle of finals and end of school year, kind of affecting the students, obviously, is what we are looking at now. Well, the parent company there is called Infrastructure, or Instructure, excuse me. Adding different names to this. Instructure, the parent company there of Canvas, they said in an online post that it reached an agreement with the unauthorized actor involved in the incident. They didn't say any details of the agreement. It probably included a large payment, but they did not say that they did include a payment in that. They didn't elaborate on who was behind the hack either. Instructure temporarily took the system offline while it investigated the hack and the stealing of the data. Which then, of course, locked out students, faculty that were trying to use it. Right, ASU just graduated yesterday. A lot of stress at the end of the school year as well. So they didn't talk about the hacking group, but we do know that a hacking group that's named Shiny Hunters, they claimed responsibility for the breach. They threatened to leak data involving about 9,000 schools worldwide, 275 million individuals, if schools did not pay a ransom by May 6th. They did extend that deadline, which did indicate some schools had actually, reached out to them to actually negotiate some deals. As part of the deal, the data was returned to Instructure. The company said Monday that it also received digital confirmation that the hackers destroyed any remaining copies. They sent them what they call shred logs to ensure that the stuff was in fact deleted as at that time. So Canvas getting back to normal, but they make no mistake about it. They're not admitting it, but they paid a large ransom dollar amount to get that back up as well. So, yeah, Papa Mike says, way too many numbers on the screen today. Yeah, Papa Mike's retired. Likes to see those numbers go up. It's going to be a long day, Papa Mike, with everything going on. That CPI report does not help the situation at all. And Interesting numbers here that we got from Netflix. So I'm curious on Netflix on how much they've spent. They're the largest streamer out there. But now we know Netflix has invested over $135 billion in film and television series over the past decade. They announced it themselves early this morning, which obviously underscores the dominance of the Netflix company and the growth of on-demand entertainment. It's not just licensing shows and everything to put on their channel, it's the new stuff that's costly to them as well. During that same period, about a decade, Netflix contributed more than $325 billion to the global economy. They created over 425,000 jobs on productions as well. Netflix has over 325 million paid members as of the end of 2025. They have licensed films and series from more than 3,000 companies over the years, as you know, including public broadcasters, meaning CBS, NBC, etc. But interesting enough, non-English language titles, they represent more than a third of all viewing on Netflix. So it's not just the American English speaking audience watching Netflix. They are a global company now with that third of all viewing being non English language titles, compared to less than a tenth of those being in non English language about a decade ago. Non US films and series, things like Money Heist, Squid Games, K pop Demon Hunters, those aren't American programmings, right? And they draw large global audiences and help grow the Netflix name up there as well in the non English speaking category. I just found those interesting numbers there from Netflix and what their focus is, especially after the failed Warner Brothers Discovery takeover. They wanted that for the obviously the movie side of things to keep making fresh original films out there. Plus, their HBO Max catalog is what they wanted moving forward. So, tons of money spent there from Netflix. So expensive it costs to stay number one in that streaming world. And now we got to talk about this. Little depressing here as well. Texas Roadhouse is falling into the inflation game as well. They're actually hiking up menu prices. They've already done it if you've been there recently. All among the inflation, numbers that are out there, even though they do have huge sales increases. We showed you their stock last week. I believe it was the end of last week. I believe it was Friday. Might have been yesterday. My time frame is all messed up here today. But they have increased sales. Doesn't matter. Raising prices regardless. They announced that its menu prices increased by 1.9% in its first quarter 2026 results that they did release last week on May 7th. That's when we talked about their stock price. Comparable restaurant sales increased by 7.1% compared to the prior year. The average weekly sales of 174,151, well, that was higher than the 163,000 in the prior year as well for same store sales. The chain, their margin, Texas Roadhouse's margins decreased, all because of commodity and labor inflation side of things. Some of that decline, though, was offset by those higher sales that they had as well on that side. But they did raise menu prices in early April, folks. So if you've been in there lately, now it wasn't a huge amount that they raised it, about 1.5%, but obviously we're all kind of paying attention to what we spend outside of our own homes now as well. Texas Roadhouse has 22 locations under construction, expecting growth there. Their sales are up, but we don't get to escape the inflation side. They're still the one of the most affordable places to go out and eat, even with this little small price increase here in April. But sign of the times that even Texas Roadhouse not eating the inflationary costs, if you'll excuse my bad pun there. When we come back here at McCollum on Business, we keep the show rolling as well while we look into some local stories out there. And as I said earlier in the show, you're planning your summer vacation road trip. We've told you before to hit up Waco, Texas, if you're going that way. And we'll tell you why. There's another reason you should also hit that up as well if you're just a huge fan of a certain drink. We'll talk about that coming up. Come on back. McCollum on Business. here. McCollum on business here on this Tuesday. Of course, as soon as we're done here, we get the show up on demand as well. Robot TV, YouTube as well. At TME Media AZ is where you can find us there on YouTube. Don't forget to follow our parent company as well. That's that TME Media, our production side of the company. Well, that's also on X, also there, TME Media AZ. Give them a follow. As we just put out information on the show, what we do here, and show things that come up as well. So if you don't want to follow each individual shows, that's kind of the central point there. TME Media AZ as well. And then all of our programming's over on Rumble as well on demand. Rumble.com/user/TME Media is where you can find that. All the shows, including The Real Matrix, are over there on Rumble. Real Matrix, not part of the YouTube world of On Demand, but is over on Rumble. So we put everything up over there as well. Every Friday at noon, The Real Matrix comes out. It's the Angry Patriot. Just has its own podcast as well. Just search the Real Matrix Angry Patriot. It comes up on your favorite podcast system. And folks, it is a fun show. Angry Patriot just wants you to show up with an open mind and make your own decisions. He presents the information to you out there as well for that. So that is all there on Rumble, along with all of our other programming, including the Pit Stop. Comes to you on Wednesdays here at TME Media. And it'll be out this week. We'll look back, of course, to racing last weekend at Watkins Glen. All-Star race coming up this weekend. Comes out on Wednesday here. You can find that on the Rumble, on the YouTube page, TME Media AZ, of course, Robot TV as well. Follow them at the Pit Stop Talk on X. And also, you can find them on your favorite podcast system out there. Of course, as soon as we get done here, the main event comes up. Me and 17-year veteran Adele Hellestrey get you caught up on the sports world, both national and local news. Diamondbacks, of course, in Texas right now, facing the Rangers. And last night's game, this game, Lakers eliminated, swept out of the playoffs last night. So much to talk about. So come and join us live on TME Media AZ. Also on Robot TV as well on YouTube, and then Robot TV as well. We appreciate you guys joining us and everything. And with that, let's get back into, unfortunately, with the way today's going, let's get back into that market watch. Well, right now, yeah, it's one of those days. We gave you all the reasons why early in the show. The CPI report, high inflation reading, and tech stocks going down today as well. All leads us the war, the end of the war in Iran is not close to being over. Everything's down today on the market. 326 points down right now by the Dow Jones. The S&P 500, well, that's down 33 points right now for it as well. Then you got the NASDAQ, which is down big. I told you tech stocks down big today. 232 points down right now for the NASDAQ as well. Then you got the Russell 2K. It's down 40 points for the small cap index for that. Bitcoin, well, it's going along with that, although it is better than it was earlier in the show, but it's still above that 80,000 level here for Bitcoin here today as well. And stocks we're paying attention to right now, well, like I said, it's hard to find good ones today, folks out there. We did manage to. And the first one is Wendy's is what we're going to look at. Instead of ending this segment with a positive stock, we're going to start it here. Wendy's is up 12.72%. The Financial Times came out with a report. They said that Nelson Peltz's Triad Fund Management, he's a billionaire, folks, who invests in companies like this. They say his fund management, Triad Fund Management, is looking to raise funds for a bid to take the fast food chain private, to get them out of the stock market. And that's Wendy's is up 12.65% here today. And I don't eat food at Wendy's too often, but man, when they have those Frosties on point where they're actually frozen, not a gooey, milky mix, man, they're so on point. I had one the other day, as a matter of fact, but up 12.94% for Wendy's. Then there's Zoom Info Technologies. This is the market intelligence platform out there. Down huge today, 32.04%. Believe it or not, folks, this has come back a little bit. It was down a big. You can see on your chart there on the left-hand side of your screen what they're at. They cut off full-year revenue guidance. They cut it down to a range of $1.185 to $1.205 billion. Their prior forecasted range was 1.247 to 1.267 billion dollars. This wasn't a small cut in their guidance. They gutted that thing with a machete. So that's why they're down 31.46% here today as well. And then Hims and Hers Health, not much better for them. Disappointing earnings guidance out there is what they came out with, and they're down 9.95%. I have been seeing a lot of commercials for Hims and Hers, both on television and also on the internet. It's found to me, I guess, saying that they now do the GLP-1 medications. We've reported that to you before, like the real stuff there, right? And everything. But even with that out there, gosh, they're still down 9.88% and issued their disappointing earnings guidance as well for them. On the comment section here, of course, follow us, TME Media AZ as well, and get in on the chats with us. Well, Papa Mike does say, he says, if this is about that Texas Roadhouse story at the end of that first segment, he says, for an individual patron, a 30-cent increase for a $20 meal may not be noticed, but it probably brings in a lot for a chain restaurant. Absolutely. If their revenue went from 165 to what was it, 174,000 per store, is what they were talking about. That's a big number there for a packed place that has waits most of the time that they're open out there. So that's the thing. It's a modest increase, but the bigger point of the story is even our institutions of value meal dining, because Texas Roadhouse, look, it's not a high end steak restaurant. Don't get me wrong, but the value you get there is fantastic, even with this increase. But the increase shows what's being hit out there, right? And then, of course, let's get into some local stories we need to know. And housing continues to be a problem here in Arizona. We're going to be talking about it till the end of time, it feels like, right? But we have a supply and demand imbalance here as well. And this all kind of proven even more to the point. There's a new report out there from a think tank here in Arizona called Common Sense Institute. They say that 42% of households in the state would be able to afford a new mortgage. That's down from 66% back in 2019. That's a huge drop in 7 years, from 66, down to 42%. Home ownership does remain out of reach for many Arizonans, even though home prices have fallen about 3% in 2025. The report estimates Arizona is about 56,000 units short of immediate demand as well. Obviously, being short on demand means prices can go up as there's not many on the market. Here's the other side of it, though. We're 56,000, according to this report, short of demand. Well, construction appears to be slowing for housing as well. This Common Sense Institute's report says the number of housing permits issued in Arizona last year, it fell to the lowest point since 2019 as well. We are not getting out of this housing issue. The economy is not getting better until this housing issue is solved. And you don't solve the housing issue until the economy gets better, meaning treasury yields fall. It is a convoluted mess here that we are in this economy. It's not getting any better, especially if people aren't building houses to increase the supply, which is how you would run down some numbers, and then you've got the mortgage rate, etc. It's a mess out there, folks, right now. And there's a company, though. It's a mess here, but there's a company picking up where they are in California, coming to Scottsdale. It's a company called Nightworks. It's Night as in Knight, WERX is the company name. They're a defense-focused drone developer is what they do. Well, they're leaving their corporate headquarters from Camarillo, California. Not leaving, they've done it. They've officially moved into their residence here in Scottsdale, up here in the Northeast Valley. The shift drops the company into the Phoenix Metro's fast-growing manufacturing and tech corridor, as it's just about to scale up its production as well with their business. So their LinkedIn page, well, it now officially lists Scottsdale as its headquarters. It shows multiple open engineering and autonomy roles, which does signal an immediate hiring push for R&D, research and development, and production talent that they need here in the Valley. They have been making appearances at local accelerator and defense innovation events because it's trying to build out a presence, obviously, in the valley where they just moved their headquarters to out there. So if you're in this field, something to take a look at if you're out there looking for a job or freshly out of college, for instance. Nightworks develops compact tactical unmanned aerial systems. That includes a tail sitting VTOL platform aimed at rapid deployment and modular payloads for intelligence, surveillance, and even reconnaissance out there. So, new company moving from California here into Arizona as well, up there in Scottsdale, and another manufacturing on the tech side of things as well. Nightworks, folks. And finally, you're planning your summer vacation. If we can, anybody can afford to take one with gas prices what they are out there. You can't fly because of pricing. You can't drive because of pricing. Well, but if you are going to go or want to do a short little trip there, it's a short little jaunt over there to Waco, Texas. We told you about the Dr. Pepper Museum there, the official one. Well, here's another reason to make a step there. Can you see it in the picture there if you're watching us? If you're driving or at the office and can't look, don't obviously look over. But the new thing to look at is in that picture there as well. So Waco is about 100 miles south of Dallas, if you don't know. But they did unveil officially now the world's largest Dr. Pepper bottle. Yeah, they did that last week. It's all in celebration of the museum's 35th anniversary. We told you a couple months ago that they were hitting record numbers at this museum of people stopping by and going to it. So this giant bottle, well, it doesn't actually contain Dr. Pepper. That would be amazing if you could pour out of it at the bottom. Well, it is constructed from fiberglass and stands at about 23 feet tall, is where it is. Each side captures two distinct eras in Dr. Pepper's 140-year history. It includes the branding's modern style that was popularized in the 1960s. That's the one that we kind of know today as well. But it also includes the Vim, Vigor, and Vitality logo that was on the bottles from the mid 1800s through the turn of the century as well on the front side. I love those old logos of things as well. The world's largest Dr. Pepper bottle was made possible by a $1 million donation from the Hillman Family Foundation. It's all on behalf of the Elder Care Organization, which is called Cornerstone Caregiving. I did see a story from the museum where the people that gave the $1 million donation said they just love Dr. Pepper. They want to support its history and support it moving forward as well there. So, hey, road trip, Waco, Texas. Who's on board? Let's put it all together. We'll rent a van, maybe a bus if enough of us go. Let's go check out Waco Dr. Pepper Museum. Quick drive there, quick drive back home. Let's get it done out there. Papa Mike says as well, I've been there. Very cool place. Dr. Pepper's the best. I don't know how I haven't been to this museum. I love I used to wear Dr. Pepper clothing like as a joke before everybody started wearing it. It was so much fun. Never been there. Partly because it's in Waco, Texas. Not gonna lie to you. Not a Waco fan at all. Ugh. Hey, but we got to check it out, right? Let's go and get that on our schedules as of now. Folks, I appreciate you joining me here for this Tuesday edition of McCollum on Business. Well, tomorrow, 7 a.m., what does the market's going to do, or what is the market's going to do if I use proper English? It's all going to depend on hot inflation reports, the announcing by companies as well and what they're doing out there. We've seen some bad numbers starting to come in from some companies, as we talked about today. But it all stumbles around oil and what's happening around the Iran war and the inflationary numbers. So come and join us tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. We'll call them on business. Have a great Tuesday night, everyone.